This week's Piltch Point with Avram Piltch is proudly powered by Monster Products. The headphones on my head right now, a variety of styles from Monster, whether it be the entirely wireless in-ear element to the full over-ear, the full cup style elements. Are you looking for something for sports, the iSport, something like that? Or you want a speaker from the little hotshot all the way up to the giant monster blaster. All of that, plus the power and cables to connect it, is available by going to pilchpoint.live/monster. So, we have our first official episode here with Avram in his new position. And if you're watching live, you will have noticed that the animation was a little wrong. If you're not watching live, it won't be wrong. So, obviously the topics that we're going to get to talk about here are going to get to change a little bit. And this week, I think we've got a really good one.
Yeah, I mean, this is one that I might have talked about before. I would have talked about before, but we're definitely trying. Obviously, we're targeting a more enthusiast audience at my new job at Tom's Hardware, but a lot of the things that we're doing and will do are things that should appeal to anyone who's using technology, and certainly to all the viewers and listeners of this show. So, I obviously, no matter how fast your computer is, I have news for you. The bottleneck is you. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. No matter, you could have a Pentium, you could dig up an old 8086 machine out of the closet. You will always be the slowest part of your computer because the computer's waiting for you. It's waiting for your input. It waits for you to type things. It waits for you to move the mouse. It is sitting there right now waiting for you to do something. So, how do you speed up yourself? Because if you speed up yourself, you'll speed up your computer no matter what computer it is. So, there's a few things that I published an article about 13 ways to speed up yourself on tomshardware.com. You can find it if you go to the home page and hit the little scroll button through the carousel. You'll see it there. And there's a few things. That are really important, and some are obvious. Some I'm sure the audience will already be doing, and some hopefully will be new to them. First of all, you got to set keyboard shortcuts for everything. Every program that you launch, you should be able to launch with a keyboard shortcut. Because every time you move the mouse across the screen and you double click on an icon, you're wasting precious milliseconds or seconds. It adds up. It really does. So what you should be doing is you should be creating keyboard shortcuts for your favorite apps. If you want to launch Chrome, you should make it Control-Alt-C or something. You want to launch Word, you should make it Control-Alt-W. You really want to try and fix it so that you are using the keyboard more and the mouse less. Because also, every time you have to use the mouse or the touchpad, you have to take your hands off of the home row, unless you have a pointing stick, like you might on a ThinkPad. But even then, you'll still be doing extra moving of the pointer. So, in short, keyboard shortcuts. You gotta assign keyboard shortcuts. Another thing that you should do is assign keyboard shortcuts not only to opening apps, but to things that you type frequently. There are a lot of ways, a lot of macro programs to do this. My favorite is a scripting language called AutoHotkey. It's very easy. It's free and very easy to learn to use. If you check out my article, there's actually some instructions on how to use it. But with AutoHotkey, you can, if you type your address a lot, you can fix it so you hit a few keys and it types your whole address for you. If you If you need to go hit something on a menu and there's no shortcut for it within the app that you're in. For example, Photoshop Elements has no shortcut, keyboard shortcut for crop. Very annoying if you're using that all the time and you need to crop things. You got to roll your mouse all the way up to a sub menu to do it. Well, you can use auto hotkey to assign that to a key. Boom, you're done in like a few milliseconds as opposed to a couple seconds. That time adds up. In addition to that, if you have the option of using a fingerprint reader or facial recognition to log into Windows, you should do that because that is faster than typing your password. And even if you're a super fast typist, it will probably save you a good couple seconds every time you unlock. And that gets to another really basic point. If you're not a fast typist, if you're not a touch typist, you got to learn to type faster. That's one of the most important things you can do. There's a lot of great sites out there to teach you. One I like is called 10fastfingers.com. But whichever you use, you gotta learn. You gotta learn how to type faster. If you're not typing a good, say 85 words per minute or higher, on a good day I could type over 100 words a minute. Now, granted, when you're sitting there and you're thinking about what you're doing, like, oh, I got to compose this, you're not going to type at your highest speed because your brain is working. But if you know that if you can type at 85 words a minute plus, that your hands will be less of a bottleneck. Obviously, you want to find ways of using the mouse less, scroll less, click less. So one thing that is really obvious, but a lot of people don't realize is if there's a place on a web page that you need to go and you know where it is, like a form that you always fill out or a word that you're looking for, hit Control F and start typing that word, right? Like I have a web app that I always have to fill out every day. I won't name names here, but it's a very poorly designed web app where there's like 25 fields, and I only have to fill out 3 to use it, right? To do what I need to. So I could scroll, use my scroll wheel and scroll 3 screens down to get to the field that I need to fill in, or I could hit Control F and start typing the name of the text that's in front of the field, and I'm down there in like half a second. So those are some things that you can do to really speed yourself up. Obviously, you want to also learn all the relevant Windows built-in keyboard shortcuts. Little things like hitting Windows key plus arrow to dock your windows to the side of the screen are really helpful. Anything you can do to use the keyboard. Finally, another thing that you really have to do is minimize distractions. Distractions are a big problem, and I find they're a big problem for me. So, and the temptation to go do distracting stuff when you start to do an onerous task is really big. So I use a Chrome extension called Stay Focused, STAYFOCUSD, that I can program to block certain sites so I don't have the temptation to look at Facebook or look at Twitter when I'm heads down working, or to check my email or whatever. So, and then of course you want to look at the quiet hours feature in Windows 10 to make sure that you're limiting the notifications that are popping up so those aren't distracting you. Overall, you want to minimize distractions, minimize scrolling and moving the mouse, and just maximize the time that you're spending doing, thinking, composing, like, oh, I better write this thing, I got to code this thing, whatever the work is that you're doing that requires human intelligence versus doing robot work, like rolling your mouse across the screen.
And it's important to note that Microsoft agrees with you so much that in the update to Windows 10 that just released, quiet hours got renamed to Focus Assist. specifically because it's all about staying focused while you're working, not just keeping your device from making noise at night.
Yes. Now, I wish that Windows would actually do a little bit more in that area, like just blocking notifications from some apps, or I guess most apps, is nice. But it sh- I would like to see a more comprehensive focus assistance from built into the OS, like block some websites for me, block block Windows from updating itself while I need focus assist and rebooting. You know, block block unnecessary noises. Um, one of the things that's extremely annoying is when you're trying to do work and then you have like random noise popping up on your computer.
Yeah.
Some folks know that I mean, this is becoming sort of built into the browser in some ways, but some folks know that I actually have written a Chrome extension which is available in the store and some people use, called Silent Site, which allows you to whitelist and blacklist sites, and so that when you can make sure that websites aren't randomly playing noise, making noise in background tabs or even in the foreground tab. I wish you could do that across. Forget the browser. I wish you could do that with. I wish you could have that with apps. I mean, you sort of can. The volume control in Windows lets you open up and control stuff. But that's after things have already tried to play sounds, like that's closing the barn door after the horses run out. Like, you should have the ability to really just I mean, generally I use my computer with the sound off for this reason, but it would be good if the focus assist would do that for you.
Yeah, the new focus assist in 1803 is a lot more powerful in what you can and cannot deal with than quiet hours ever was. Like, you can for priority, you can set certain apps to be priority and stuff like that, and everything else gets turned off. But yeah, it would be great if it also took care of other noises, like websites that just start playing noise all by themselves that aren't necessarily in an audio or a video tag, because if it's not in an audio or a video tag, it doesn't get handled by the new Chrome auto mute, for example.
Well, that's good to know that my plugin is so useful, because it mutes everything by default.
That is not how the Chrome thing works. And by the way, the Chrome one is screwing up games, because most HTML5 games don't have a way to override it. So it's caused some problems, and people have had to turn that capability off, whereas your thing always asks. So
yes. Yeah, so I should probably update that. I kind of thought, it's a little inside baseball for the few of you who may have used my extension. I haven't updated in a while because I kind of thought the built-in Chrome feature was kind of was obviating what it did. But there's desire out there. I'll try to find the time in my copious free time.
Yeah, because any of us have that. Well, I love this topic. We've talked about it a little bit in the past, but I always enjoy having this kind of conversation. Anything you can do to improve yourself or your work environment to make things better is always a good thing to talk about. If people want to see the whole list, where can they get it?
Go to the homepage at tomshardware.com and look in the top stories box on the top. You may have to hit the arrow to scroll over a little bit, but you will find it there.
Well, fantastic. Well, it was great getting our first Tom's Hardware story, and definitely look forward to many more.
Always a pleasure.